So we're at all-time new highs moving forward into this week, and this week, this video here right now is to get us ready for what could potentially happen moving forward, and just to be prepared for that. Now the question is this the top in the market before we see a downturn because of a Biden election or a Biden presidency, or is this the start of a next boom? Let's actually just see what the charts are saying. This is more of a technical basis. I might wave in some fundamentals as well too. So let's actually just see what the actual market is telling us and what we can be prepared for this week and what we need to keep an eye out for to see, because if certain patterns form, it's going to give us a good key indication of what's likely to come for the rest of the year. Let's get straight into it. Don't place a trade based on what you'll see in this video, because there is no guarantees of making a profit in the market. It takes you a long time to become a good trader. So this video here is just to educate you to become a much better trader. Alrighty traders, let's get straight into it. Guys, just before I start, I am running a 50% off sale to my coaching program. As you guys know, I've just opened up my coaching program, but I'm running a 50% off to my private coaching program that starts today and ends at the end of next year. If you want over 12 months worth of private coaching with me every single day helping you there, then this is your last chance. 50% off, very first link in the description. Go check it out. If it's for you, join. If not, that's okay. I hope this video helps you out. Now, what could we expect moving forward? Right now, we're getting towards the end of November. What a crazy year, isn't it, guys? What a crazy year it's been. Wow. Especially here down in Australia, right? We started off with the fires, then we started off with the Rona, then we've had all kinds of stuff. Now, here in Australia, this has been a bit of a shock because we haven't had a recession in 30 years. So people are like, oh, what's going on? It's like, anyway. So looking at the S&P 500, this is the S&P 500 technical analysis, and the Dow Jones. Is this the start of the crash or is it the next boom? So let's actually have a look here and let's actually see what the charts tell us, because the charts do give us some good key indication of what could happen if certain patterns form here. Now, right now, we are just going sideways here with the S&P. Now, before I continue, guys, one thing that you must understand as a trader, if you want to become part of this trading world, there's a thing called wait for confirmation. And the confirmation gives us a probability. Confirmation never gives us a certainty. So when I say this is going to give us confirmation, that confirmation now gives us a probability, which may be a 70% or 80%. Makes sense? So if I trade where I am right now, there is no probability because we're just going sideways. There's no probability. There's no confirmation of it saying, okay, this is what's likely to happen. Because that's what we do, right? Us traders, we're not here to try to predict what's going to happen. We just follow the market, let the market give us some key indications. And if you say, oh, the charts are useless in this manipulated world, you have no idea about reading the charts at all. Because, if you go back and watch, even on the trading and investing, playlist on my YouTube channel, you'll be able to see some really important things that really do make a big difference to your trading when it comes to reading these charts. And so if you are part of this world, please learn how to read the charts, because the better you can read the chart, the better trader you'll be. There's no certainties, but it's going to help you become a much better trader because you can see what's likely to happen, jump on that and have a much better risk to reward, win-loss ratio, and so on and so forth. So right now we are going sideways. So there's other two different scenarios that I can see playing out here. And is this the start of the crash, or is this the start of the next boom? Now, I'm gonna break this up into two different parts here. First, I'm gonna break it up into a technical part, and then I'm gonna break it up into a sort of Biden part. Now, let's actually I'll go to the latter first. If Biden wins, taxes are going up, and a lot of the stuff that Donald Trump did is now going to be unwind. That simply means it's going to be pressure on the markets. There's not going to be tax cuts. There's going to be tax increases, and so therefore that's going to actually put a lot of pressure on the markets. Now, whenever that actually happens, that's if that definitely gets passed, then it's going to put a lot of pressure on the markets because of obviously tax increases. Now, that's the whole fundamental, the big picture, macro, what's going to happen there when it comes to that there. Now, the caveat with that is that they're gonna continue to print a lot of money to keep a floor in these markets. I wonder what that's going to do to the markets. So moving forward from that, Initially on the short term, if I'm continuation with that whole, if Biden gets in and so on and so forth, right, and they continue to print more money, initially that should be bullish for the markets, right? Because the tax cuts haven't hit in, tax increases haven't hit in, haven't become, part of the big boys world. And so therefore we are likely to continue. And especially if we get a stimulus initially over the next 2 or 3 months, that should be very bullish because the Robin Hooders are going to come back out again and woof, jump on the markets. So on that front, on a short-term basis, whether Trump or Biden, I see fundamentally, especially if we can get some sort of stimulus package passed again, then we are likely to see another move up. Now, looking at that, so that's that side there, okay. Now initially that there, and then I think if he does start to raise taxes and all that sort of stuff, it's all over from there. Now on a technical point of view, which I am, I'm a technical trader. I love trading the charts because it gives me much more of a probability of what's going on in the markets. So, looking at the markets right now, looking at these charts right now on the S&P 500, and this is the same for the Dow Jones as well too. I can see we're just going sideways through here. All right. So, what does that mean? That means this here. Let's have a look at this. Let's break this down. Firstly, we're actually at all-time new highs where we are right now. At all-time new highs, just going sideways, not really much going on. So, what does that actually mean? That means this, okay? Firstly, let's have a look at this here. If we start to drop down, just say for example, something comes out of the markets and we start to get a bit of a drop down like that, then what? Is this the top in the markets and then we're likely to start to see a free fall? Well, it could be, all right? But if we are bullish this market, if that happened, what would we want to see? To say, okay, now I'm ready to jump into the market because it's given us a probability we are likely to continue up. If you want to buy this market, what would you want to see if this happens? Well, what you would want to see is you want to see this market come down a little bit and then hold and then start to come back up. If it does do that and we start to come back up through here, right here would be a very high probability point. Don't try and jump in down here because you don't know whether this resistance here is going to hold because it can go up like that there and then reject. So if you want a high probability of an entry point, then what you would want to wait and see. Let me actually just take everything off this. Actually, let me just take, I'll leave that on the screen there. These are momentum lines, by the way, guys. If the market breaks past this line through here, then the momentum to the upside has been lost and then we're likely to see a bit of a pullback. So that's what I'm waiting for. For me personally, I'm looking to say, okay, where does this, firstly, initially on a technical basis, where does this break? If it breaks past this 3,500 level, then I want to wait and see if for a trading position for me anyway. This is on the S&P 500. This has nothing to do with all the individual stocks, by the way, guys. You just apply your analysis to the individual stocks. But when we're looking at the S&P 500, if we start to get that, I want to see some sort of higher low. Now, it's going to be even more powerful if we get a 50% Fibonacci retracement. If we do get the breakdown, okay, guys? And this is where most of you traders that watch these videos, you're looking for some sort of certainty. And when I say if, I don't know what's going to happen. But if certain things happen, then I can trade that if, and that's going to give me a probability of making money. Make sense, guys? So there is no certainties here. So we need to wait to see what the market's going to tell us what to do next. So firstly, let me actually bring up Fibonacci level from the low point to the high point. If we break down, and especially if we hold this level here, which is a 50% level, if we hold there and we don't break past, and then we break up, now guys, this is the scenario if we do break down, okay? I'm talking about just if we do break down. I'm going to get to if we break up in a minute, but the first scenario is what we need to look at both sides, right? Because both sides could happen. If we break down, for me personally, if we do break down, and let me just delete that off the screen there for a minute. If we do break down, I personally, for me to jump on the S&P 500 or even just buy some call options of the SPY, what would I personally be looking for? I personally will be looking for this. I'll personally be looking for the market to come down, hold this level for a bit, and then start to rise and get back up to here. This point here is where I'd be happy to try. I'm starting to look at call options on the S&P 500 or the SPY. Makes sense because now we've got a higher low Now we've got a higher low, and now we're starting to break up. Make sense? So the market does do that sometimes. Now sometimes this here can be a bit of a false breakout, and then we head down like that. We have to wait. That's why we want to wait and see the higher low first if we do get that breakdown. So it's a bit of an if scenario what's going on here. But with the patterns that form over the next few weeks, we can get a high probability what's likely to happen in the first few months of next year. So if we do get that, then that's what's going to happen there. Now, the second scenario is forget the Fibonacci, and we just continue to go sideways through here, and then we start to do something. Oh, take off the screen, and then we start to do something like this, right? And then we start to break up, and we start to break up here. What does that mean? It's all on like Donkey Kong, and then we're probably going to start to head up to 3,800, and eventually head up to probably at 4,000. I know that sounds crazy. Now, guys, 4,000 is just a number that I've plucked out of my head. I'm just going to be honest with you there. It's a nice round number, and the market loves to race to nice round numbers. If you remember gold, right? That this is the gold chart, right? Remember look what happened with gold. Look where it ran to. Straight to 2,000, overshot it, and then came back down. The market loves to run to round numbers. Now, that's not every single case, and it's not a guaranteed and all that sort of stuff. So, but on initially, if we do start to break up, my first target is that 3,850. That's my first initial target there. And then once we get there, I do believe we're probably like a head up to around about 4,000, if that is the case from looking at that there. So there we go, guys. That's what I see when it comes to the stock market this year and moving forward. It's very, very, very hard to see. It's very hard to see what's likely to happen here. And let me just share something with you here for a minute. And I want to just share. I want to share with see this pattern here. Remember I said before about this pattern. I want to share a trade I actually did before. All right, here we go here. So this one here. All right. So as you can see, this is the exact same pattern. This is a trade that I took a while ago on JP Morgan actually. And as you can see, this is a JP Morgan trade I traded. And notice this pattern through here is the exact same thing that the S&P could be doing. That's what I was saying, guys. We need to have a probability. We need to wait for the market to tell us what's going on. And then if that happens, then we're likely to make a probability. So this is the exact same pattern that JP Morgan made. I think it was last year. And I saw it. I'm like, I'm all over this. Look at this here. Resistance, resistance, support, support. And then as you can see, so what I did is I projected from the high down through to the low through there. And then what it is, I just simply project, and then I used that and I projected it up, and then I got to this target here. I forget the exact price, but you can see the pattern. So we went from a channel, then we went from a what? We broke up to the high, and that's what I said before, the market loves to do this. Then we broke down roughly to around about 50, maybe even a 60% retracement, and then held, and guess what happened? Up, 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 up. So this day here, if I take off my screen and zoom in just a little bit more, let me zoom in, there we go. So as you can see, it was this day here that what? This day right here gave me the confirmation that now we have a probability of what? Of at least running to my target. You see how that works? So that's exact. This is a trade that I did, and it ran straight to my target. Thank you very much. Homemade biscuits, money in my bank. Next trade, right? That's what trading is all about. Trading can be such an amazing thing, guys. It really can. The hardest thing about trading is getting out of our own way. And as you can see, right, I'm not bullish or bearish. I'm just a trader. I'm like, okay, both scenarios can happen. If this happens, let's just see what the market's telling us. Because the market, people say, oh yeah, again, guys, people always say, oh, the charts are useless. Yeah, well, what about patterns like this? The charts never give you certainties, and fundamentals never give you certainties what's going to happen in the next 3 months. Hear what I just said? There is no certainties on technicals, there's probabilities. And even if you do look at fundamentals, that fundamental doesn't mean it's going to happen this year. That fundamental mean that big fundamental, like, you know, Tesla's going to sell 2 billion cars. That's like, okay, it's going to sell 2 billion cars by 2025. You see what I'm saying? Like, then it's a long-term goal there. So if I bring up, let me squeeze the chart up a little bit more and bring this over here, you can see once again, or you can't even see that. You can see once again, guys, that this once again, let me just do this. Oh, actually, let me do this. It was a channel followed by a breakout above the high, then a higher low. Channel, break above high, higher low, run to target. Let's take this off the screen. What do we have here? Now, I'm not saying we're definitely going to drop down, guys, but if we get this pattern, that's what I said before, if we get this pattern, then it gives us a high probability of what's going to happen. Then it gives me the confidence, right, to load up on a big position. Not just, oh, let me just nibble and nibble, nibble. No, if I want to load up on a big position because I'm really confident of something, now there's no certainties, but I'm very, very confident about it because the market's telling me, then I'd want to wait to see that. What do we have here once again? Just like the JP Morgan trade, it's the channel, followed by a break above the high. So the if scenario is if we don't break up, but we break down, I want to see this. If we get that, then I'm going to be jumping on that. I'm going to load up on a big position from at least the target to where? There. It's a phenomenal, phenomenal, phenomenal pattern in the markets. And this is what trading is all about. I have my trading system, and then I also look for these regular, awesome patterns that happen in the markets. And I'm just waiting for these patterns to turn up. And unless there's a high probability pattern, just like this here, there's no way I'm trading it. Like right now in the SPY, there's no way I'm buying calls or puts right now because there's no probability of either way. So I want to wait that. For me personally, I'd prefer to see this number one pattern here. I'd rather see that. I'd rather see that over a break above the high here and then a run. The reason why, because then the market's telling us, okay, now we're starting to try to pick up from there. So I hope that helps you out today, guys. Please use this. Please look at the levels here. And I hope this really, really, really helps you out. Once again, guys, 50% off my coaching program ends today. So click on the very first thing in the description. Go check it out right now. And if not, that's okay. I'll see you in the next video.